All right, let's talk about the point slope form of the line. Now on your questions, you will want to pay close attention to what form they want the line in, because that will determine your answer. There are different ways to write the equation of a line. We're going to be talking about point slope form. The point slope form is written y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now in the formula, y is just the letter y. y1 is the y from any point on the line. M is the slope. X is just the letter x, and x1 is the x from any point on your line. So in this case, they gave us the slope is 1/4, and it passes through the point -2, 1. All you're going to do is write those numbers into your form, this form, and then if there's any simplification, we'll do that. There's really not much more to it than that. So let's start. So we just write the letter y minus y1 is the y from our point, which was 1, equals m, our slope, of 1/4, times a parenthesis x minus x1. x1 is the x from our point, which is -2. And then we simplify anything we can, and really you want to leave it in this form, so really the only thing we can simplify here is that we have this minus a negative, and minus a negative becomes plus, just simplifying the math there. And we get y minus 1 equals 1/4 times x plus 2, and that would be our answer. Again, that's if it's they want it in point slope form. I'm going to do a few more of these with just different things that might come up. So here's a second example. Again, notice it says, what's the point slope form of a line? The slope is the square root of 5, and it passes through the point -4, 0. Again, here is the point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we just fill in our point in our information. So y is just the letter y, minus y1, that's the y from our point, which in this case was 0, equals m, our slope, which was the square root of 5, times x minus the x from our point was -4. And then we simplify anything we can. We could leave this y minus 0, or you may want to just write y, because really y minus 0 is just y. Square root 5, we're just going to leave it as the square root of 5. That's better than finding the decimal and rounding. We want the exact answer. And here again we had minus a negative, which becomes a plus. So we have y equals the square root of 5 times x plus 4. You may see it written as y minus 0. It really just depends on the text and what their preference is. All right, let's go again. So again, it wants the point slope form of the line, where our slope m is 85, and we're going through the point -1, -12. Again, you just put the numbers into the formula here. So y minus the y from our point, which was -12, excuse me, equals, and you'll want to watch that, it's easy to mix up your x and y, so watch that carefully, equals m, our slope of 85, times x minus the x from our point, which was -1. Alright, simplify, so anywhere there's minus a negative, we change that to plus, so we have y plus 12 equals 85 times minus a negative would be plus x plus 1. And there we have it. All right, we are now going. All right, so now we're going to switch gears just a little bit, and our goal here is going to be to write the equation of the line once again, but instead of writing the equation of the line in point slope form, we're going to go for slope intercept form. So notice I have them both written down here. Point slope form we've been working with already. It's you use a point and the slope to write the equation of a line. Slope intercept form, notice, is much different. It still has the slope right here. M is our slope. This number b right here turns out to be the y-intercept for your graph. The way that we can go from point slope form to slope intercept is just solving for y. That's how you know when you're in slope intercept form, is when y is on this side of the equation equal to everything else on the other side. So read your questions carefully, because some of them will ask for point slope form, some will ask for slope intercept, and there is a difference. Okay, so when it says slope intercept form, we still start the same way. I'm going to go by what your textbook does. There are other ways to do this, but I'm going to go use the method your textbook uses. Okay, it says first you start with point slope form, okay, because that was fairly easy to do. So we follow point slope form, y minus the y from our point, which was negative 12, equals m, our slope of 85, times x minus the x from our point, which was negative 1. Okay, go ahead and simplify just like we did before. So here we have, this would be y plus 12, and then we have equals 85 times x plus 1, right? From here, we know we want slope-intercept form, and in slope-intercept form, y is all by itself, and we don't have parentheses. So we need to fix those two things in order to have it in slope-intercept form. I'm going to begin by removing the parentheses, and we do that by distributing the 85. So I still have y plus 12 here. 85 times x is 85x, and 85 times 1 is 85. We're going to solve for y here. We want y all alone, and it's a plus 12, so we do the opposite and subtract 12. Whatever you do on one side of the equation, you must do on the other. And we get y equals 85x plus 73. And that is our equation in slope-intercept form. This was our point slope form. This is slope-intercept form. So again, make sure you read the question carefully. You start the same way, but for slope-intercept form, you then remove the parentheses by distributing, and then add or subtract this number over to the other side, whichever you need to do, so that y is all by itself. All right, let's write the slope-intercept form of the line with a slope of square root 5 and passes through the point negative 4, 0. So again, we start by using, again, we read carefully. This wants slope-intercept form, so make sure you have clearly in your notes which is point slope and which is slope-intercept. We start by putting our parts into the point slope formula. Okay, so we have y minus the y from our point was 0, equals m, our slope of square root 5, times x minus the x from our point, which was negative 4. Okay, now we simplify. Well, y minus 0 is really just y. And minus a negative, remember, becomes plus. So we have y equals the square root of 5 times x plus 4. Now, if we're going to slope-intercept form, we need to remove the parentheses and get y by itself. Y is by itself, so all we really need to do here is remove the parentheses by distributing. So we multiply through, and we get the square root of 5 times x plus 4 root 5. 4 times the square root of 5. We write the number in front and then the number that's under the radical second, and the reason for that is if we put the 4 at the end, we can confuse it and think it's still under the radical. So when you multiply a root times a number, always put the number that's not in the root in front and then put the root after it. It just avoids confusion with what's in and what's in outside of the root. And this, as weird as it looks, is our slope-intercept form. We started with point slope form, plugged in our values with our point and our slope, and then all we had to do this time was distribute to remove the parentheses. All right, find the slope-intercept form of a line with a slope of 4 and passing through the point 2 root 2 minus 5 root 2. That looks a little hairy, but we do it the same way, regardless of what numbers they give us. Again, they want the slope-intercept form. So we know when we're done, we want something that looks like this. y all by itself equal to everything else. But we're going to start with the point slope form. The y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're going to plug our numbers in that we have. We have y minus the y from our point was negative 5 root 2 equals our slope of 4 times x minus the x from our point, which was 2 root 2. Okay, we want to simplify as much as we can here. We have minus a negative, so I'm just going to go ahead and change that to a plus right here. If we're doing point slope form, we would stop, but we're doing slope intercept, so we now need to remove the parentheses by distributing. So 4 times x gives me 4x. 4 times 2 root 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and then you just have root 2. These roots are kind of like having x's or y's, okay? Multiply the numbers in front. If we had a radical, we'd multiply the numbers in the radical. And we keep going, okay? We got rid of the parentheses, so now all we need to do is get y by itself. It's adding 5 root 2, so we do the opposite and subtract 5 root 2. Do the same over here. Now, since these are both root 2's, we can go ahead and combine them, okay? So a negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13 root 2. And again, as hairy as that looks, that is our slope-intercept form. We know we're done because the parentheses are gone. We have y all by itself equal to everything else on the other side.